What up? You finished? I guess you finished. My first time listening to this shit on the speaker. Nice. Hello, my good sir. Just wanted to show you guys what I'm working on. Back to the still life. I had to pause because I did a commission, but that's done. So now it's back to the still life. So I just been working on this, trying to get some details in there. But I think it's coming along quite nicely. The fabric is still kicking my butt, but you know, that's how it goes with the fabric. How you been doing, man? I got accepted to do a show in California and one in Tennessee and something in Minnesota recently. It's gonna be a busy, busy year. I gotta hurry up and kick out more art. And things are running so hard right now. My bad. Got stuck on a fucking atheist chat. I'm trying to find that clip. I hate being an admin for like 2 and 3 pages. Cause like all their stuff pops up like it's my shit now. Alright.
People don't know this, but if you qualify.
Oh, the buffer is gonna kill me.
Through Pink Energy, you could get paid over two.
We're not moving. 1/2 of 1% of the nation's wealth. That's what slavery did to you. It maldistributed everything in the hands of the dominant white society. As an example, you didn't acquire any wealth since 1860. Let me show you some other indications. In 1860, on the eve of the Civil War, almost 99% of all the black people in America, slave and free, was working for whites. either in a white corporation, in a white business, in some white office, making wealth comfort for whites on a plantation or whatever it is. Here you are, 140 years later, and again, 98% of all the black people in America work for whites. They either work in some level of government, white businesses, city government, state government, school teaching. Only 2% of all the blacks in America work in their own communities for themselves. Only 2% work for themselves. You haven't changed in 140 years. Let me try another way if you still don't understand my point. On the eve of the Civil War in 1860, again, at that time, going to look at all the prisons in the United States and examine their records, I found out in the records, when I looked in the prisons in Savannah, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, New York, Washington, D.C., looked at all the prisons, and I found out at that time, even though only 287,000 blacks were free, blacks made up over 51% of all the prisoners. You weren't even free, you made up 51% of the prisoners. Now I look around 140 years later,
Puff, yo, what's good, bro?
and I still find black folk make up over 51% of all the prisoners. Where have you changed? You don't own anything. You're still in prison. You still work for other people. You're enjoying a social illusion. Now you're fat and happy because we can go to someone else's restaurant. We go to someone else's school. We can go to someone else's hotel.
Yo,
Live in someone else's community.
Shit.
And we don't understand the negative aspects of that. That is a death sentence. And we don't understand what racism is. So what we are doing is committing suicide. We got 3 years ago before we go into it. before you're going to see massive suicides happening. Because you don't even understand what racism is. I've gone all around the world. Even when I was with President Carter in the White House, I had to take trade missions in the third world nations, in Africa, Latin America, the Middle East. And invariably, wherever I spoke, I would ask people, do you know what racism is? I would even offer $1,000 for
Yo, YouTube is acting up bad as hell right now. I gotta have like the worst internet ever.
racism is. I still got black folk today don't even know what racism is. They talk about it. Find me one that understands what racism is. Every time I ask them, what's racism? Well, Dr. Anderson, racism is not liking somebody. It's prejudice, it's bigotry, it's hatred. No!
Racism is prejudice plus power. You gotta have the power to enforce your ideologies and your views. And that's racist. When you use power to diminish the abilities of someone else based on their skin color or ethnic background or whatever, that's racism. Now you can be biased and prejudiced all you want and not like people all you want or even hate people. But if you don't have the power to disrupt their movement in society, then you're not really being racist, you're just being a fucking dickhead. Now if you have the power to disrupt the daily workings of someone else's lives, and you do that,
racism is a competitive relationship between groups of people that are competing for the ownership and control of wealth and resources and power. That's what racism is. Racism is a group phenomenon.
power.
Racism is a team.
I say, if you have power to enforce your will and you do so in a negative way on racial biases, then that's racism. Dr. Khalid Muhammad explained that a long time ago. I can hate on somebody and hate on somebody and hate on somebody, but I can't directly affect their lives, where they go to school at, where they're able to shop at, where they're able to live or purchase land. I don't have no control over that at all. I don't have that ability. No matter how much I dislike someone or even wish harm or whatever, on the ability to actually have a direct impact on their place in society. Now, if you do have the ability to have a direct impact negatively on, once again, a ethnic or racial group, and you do that, you're racist as fuck, bro.
You cannot be participating in racism if you don't play as a team. You can't correct it. You're not even in the game. Racism is like football, basketball, and baseball. You play as a team or you lose.
Man, we get like 3 or 4 seconds of audio and then it buffers again. I'm about to turn YouTube off and I'll just meditate while I paint. I guess, I don't know. What do you think? Gaz Brother and Jimmy Hoffa and Tommy Desmino inside barrels at Lake Mead. Yo, they put Jimmy Hoffa in a wood chipper, bro.
I got all these so-called educated blacks in America on TV, heading up civil rights organizations, getting elected to public office.
Yeah, Jimmy Hoffa may be They probably put that dude in the wood chipper, bro. Fed the little remains to some hogs or something, man. You know what I'm saying? You ain't seen what that movie was? Um The Irishman? That's what it was. I paint houses. Okay, train, we hear you. Oh man. Man, if I cycle that router and turn the stream off, I ain't starting the stream back up. That shit on the first floor, man. If I go downstairs right now, it's a wrap. I was already in here too long without painting to start with. I tried to do a Facebook live stream. Nobody watched that shit, man. Nobody don't give a fuck about this shit. Except the homies. Only the homies. Other than that, nobody don't be wanting to chill in the studio with the Prince. Oh man. I keep trying to use this brush over and over. I don't know why, yo, because the shit don't work like I want to. Then I still try to use it again. And that's what they call insanity. So let me stop acting insane. Like that little brush gonna do what I want it to do, because it clearly is not. Let me try to baby this brush back to life. Alright. So what's one of your favorite conspiracies? I'm gonna be on a podcast next week, and the topic is gonna be conspiracies. So what's one of your favorite conspiracies? Oh my god, yeah, I'm fucking this little edge up so bad. It's ridiculous. I just can't get right, yeah. The fuck are they doing? Chopping, cutting down a tree? I'm fucking it up so bad, yo. So bad. Alright.
These free games with Prime in June. Battle for survival in Far Cry 4. Adventure to the high seas in Escape from Monkey Island. Race to win the World Rally Championship. Build the Cat Cafe in Calico. Cure the sick as the astrologer. In 1592 London. Take a Go ride and across the grooves. Go to gaming.amazon.com for all these free games and more. Go where the games take.
Oh my god, that is so annoying. I got the weird ass construction sounds outside, and YouTube ain't fucking playing right because my internet is crappy. Are you done, guys? Are you done for the day? Wrap that shit up, man. Take a break. Take 15. Matter of fact, take the rest of the day off. Go home.
Today we are going to play another video game. I'm going to offer another one of my patented video game reviews. The whole gaming community now is looking to me as sort of their guide and their sage. What do we play? This is Grand Theft Auto, correct?
This is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay, Grand Theft Auto. And this is one of the latest and greatest, newest games, is it not?
No, it's actually pretty old. I think over 5 years old now.
Because I thought I wanted to connect with the kids and play the most recent game. Is this a popular game that
I'm so mad I watched all the Stranger Things already. I'm just sitting here thinking about that shit like, damn, I can't wait to July so I can finish it up. Alright, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to go over this yellow again to get it nice and popping. Yellow is so opaque, yeah. So opaque. See right through it.
Kids still play?
Yeah, it's been out for a while and it's remained popular since it came out.
5 years old, my grandfather probably plays this, if he was not dead. All right, so what's the point of this game? Well, there I am, and I've got my polka dot shirt, and I've got the skinny pants on, so I've got the beards. That really does look a lot like me. Glasses, wow. I feel a certain kind of connection and like ethical responsibility here, because I do feel like this person is in some ways me. So what am I doing, Jacob?
You're just walking around. You're in Los Angeles right now, and you're just doing whatever you like.
Okay. Well, it's a nice evening, so we'll just go for a walk.
You have a truck behind you if you want to drive somewhere.
No, I thought I'd just walk. I'm just walking along. You know, I kind of like this. I don't really see the point because I feel like I could just go outside and walk on the sidewalk. Are there any guns? Do I get any weapons or anything?
Yeah, push the upper right button on the top of the controller.
Oh, here we go. All right. I'm not looking for any trouble. I'm just going for a walk. How do I aim and shoot? Oh, oh. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Was that a bad guy or just a random civilian I just shot for no reason?
That was a guy just strolling like you.
Well, he looked like he was up to no good, frankly. I don't know who the bad guys are, so I just have to shoot everyone, it feels like.
You're the bad guy.
Is there a point? Is there sort of a purpose? Is there a thing that I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah, go up to a car and push triangle.
Get 50% off all Domino's online pizza orders at menu price this week only, which includes right now.
Okay. Here we go. Oh, what? This isn't even my car. All right. All right. Here. Okay. So how do I steer so that I don't look drunk? Oh.
Use the right stick to steer.
How do I? Is this okay? Can I just say so? Can we stop for a second? Oh, sorry about. Oh my goodness. Well, a bounty has been set on me. What does that mean? I was just going for a walk. I was fine just walking along, and now I'm wanted for murder. Oh, red light. I mean, I think this is one thing my dad taught me when I was, a young driver. Is it's all good driving, kids, is all about good habits. And so he would say, even if there's nobody behind you, still hit the turn signal, because it's all about forming those good habits. And I think even in video games, it's important to just develop those good habits. Yeah, I gotta say, I don't feel great about killing that guy. I know it's just a video game, but at the same time, I also feel great about it, and that's the thing that concerns me the most. I feel sick to my stomach, but I kind of enjoyed it. FBI, open up! Psych! How much do the traffic laws matter in this game?
If you violate them, you'll get shot.
Are those cops coming for me?
Yeah, they are. You better get out of there.
It was a misunderstanding, officer. Okay, can I get out of this car and pick a new one?
Yeah, push triangle.
Oh, what? Who just shot me? The cops?
Yeah, it was the police.
I was getting out of the car. I was clearly about to surrender. I shared last time we did this. We played Call of Duty, and I said, I hadn't played a video game since Super Mario World, Super Nintendo, back in elementary school. Although it did occur to me after we shot that video, like recently, last couple of days, I had this flashback moment where I remembered I, in fact, did own another video game system, and I believe it was called Dreamcast. And my parents got it from a flea market and gave it to me for Christmas. And that's when I really knew that they didn't love me. And so that actually was not dreaming and hallucinating this entire thing. That actually was my last experience with video games. I don't like this game, I gotta tell you. I don't like it. Conditions. There's a certain moral conditioning that happens in games like this. Okay, we're now on a mission. There's a dealership down by Davis. They're offering reasonable finance plans. This is the mission you gave me? Go check on the reasonable finance plans? What? How is that a mission? Like bargain hunting is the mission? Isn't it like there's a bomb, I have to go defuse it before it kills a truckload of puppies or something?
The mission is you destroy their cars.
Every mission, I go kill the puppies is the mission. That's a mission I would actually accept. All right, go to the rival dealership. Let's get in the car here. I'm gonna borrow this one. Okay. So now I have to use the GPS to find out where the dealership is.
Exactly.
Well, how can I look at the yellow line and look at the road while I'm driving? All right. Taking it right here. Go. Come on. What? Well, yeah, female driver. What do you expect? Okay, take a right. Well, get. All right, let me get out of here. This is too involved. Just give me Sonic the Hedgehog. 2D, rolling along, picking up coins. This doesn't even feel right. It feels morally wrong that I could just walk up to a person and just shoot them like that. The fact that I can do that is not good. You should not be allowed to do. Look at that. You shouldn't be allowed to do that in a game. As I slaughter civilians with abandon, I object to the fact that I'm doing it. Okay, how do I take this car? Oh, I didn't know there was somebody in it. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Okay. All right, I'm just trying to get to the dealership, officers. Why are the cops still coming after me? They already killed me.
I think because you stole a car.
Oh, okay. Well, that's reasonable.
Sharp right.
Ah, okay. All right, here we go. Dealership. Look at that. Mission complete.
Do a barrel roll!
Probably could have parked the car before I dove out, but... Is that it? I found the dealership. That's the mission, right?
Now you have to destroy the cars. They're in the parking lot.
Destroy the cars.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster. A real gangster type player plays his cards right. A real gangster type player never runs his mouth. A real gangster ride player don't start fights.
Hey, who's that? Is it coming from the sky?
The cops are behind you.
I don't... That's it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Mission failed. I'm a failure. I think that's good enough. I think I've gotten a taste of this game. I think I've shown what I can do. I think I've shown my skill level. Exceptional. I've also shown that when given the opportunity, without any cost to myself, I will go around down random pedestrians and killing innocent people, which I'm not happy with myself, so that's something I have to reflect on. But overall, I'll give this game 8 stars out of 10.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
If you didn't like that content, then you probably have taste. But still, if you want to see more of that and much more than just me playing video games, make sure to hit like and subscribe right now. Do it now!
Playoffs, anything can happen. 1 minute you're feeling great about a bet, and you hear that voice in your head.
Hey Chuck, let's get out while it's still good. You don't want to end up looking like a knucklehead.
Bet $5, get $200 in free bets. FanDuel, official sportsbook of the NBA.
Getting dinner prepped, y'all. Got some seared chicken. I know it's... Can't make it work.
My friend Matt Walsh and I have known each other for a long time at this point. However, only recently have we moved to the same town, spent a little more time together, and so now I want to test how well we really know one another. The game, very simple. Each of us has a drink. I'll let you guess whose is whose. I think it's pretty obvious at this point. I've got the martini. Matt, you've got the beer. We're going to read a prompt and then guess how the other person would respond to that prompt.
I think I got it.
You think you got it. And then if you get it wrong, you got to drink.
I mean, well, that's fine. That's fine. They were trying to get me to go just straight whiskey for this game. Yeah. And I thought, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon right now, so we're going to be a little bit more.
3 o'clock in the afternoon in Nashville.
Yeah, that's
But what time is it in Dubai? I don't know. It's like in the middle of the night over there.
That's good.
So you could do that. I also feel I might be at a bit of a disadvantage because this is basically, the way I make a martini is I pour cold gin into a glass while looking at a bottle of vermouth on the other side of the room. So this is a very boozy cocktail.
Well, I'm at a disadvantage because I would probably do poorly in this game with anyone because I don't know anything about anyone or pay attention to anyone because I'm a narcissist and a sociopath. So well, that's the disadvantage I'm at.
Cheers to that. All right, we have a little sip just to begin.
Absolutely. Okay. What, to being a narcissist and a sociopath?
Being a narcissist and a sociopath.
So I don't have to chug the entire thing for each wrong answer.
No, that would
make it interesting. Right.
Yes, that would. Now, before we begin, this video is brought to you by Ring. More from Ring in just a moment. Now, without any further ado, we get to the first question. Wearing glasses makes people appear more intelligent.
Oh, is that so?
So now
what am I supposed to do?
So
here?
You've got to guess. You already have.
I'm already drunk.
You've had one sip of beer. You have to guess how I would respond to that prompt, and I will guess how you would respond to that prompt. So, for instance, you are wearing glasses, so I think it's safe to say you would agree with that prompt. So I've moved yours to the yes part. Now you've got to move mine.
Oh, do you agree with that prompt?
Yes.
Let's start over. Explain the whole game again.
Yeah. So basically, these are
I'm
glasses
say,
of alcohol.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna say you'll say no because you could wear glasses, but you don't wear glasses most of the time.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think absolutely glasses do make you look smarter. Now, do you know why I don't wear them all the time?
Why?
Because when I wear the glasses, I look exactly like Rachel Maddow. And this is no joke. Ben Shapiro came up to me one time. He goes, "Michael, you got to lose the glasses." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, conservatives don't wear the glasses. I said, "Yes."
What?
I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, this is actually, it didn't even occur to me at this point because you were still stuck in the car in the middle of the woods."
Yeah.
I said, "No, plenty of political people on TV wear glasses." He said, "Who?" I said, Rachel Maddow, Lawrence O'Donnell, Chris Matthews, Chris Hayes. It was all the libs. I couldn't name a single conservative on TV. You might be the one exception.
Only the libs wear glasses. I never thought of it.
Only the libs, because we can see so clearly ourselves.
Well, so that means I got it wrong.
You got it wrong. You have to drink. I'll drink in solidarity.
Okay. All right. Do you have?
I got reset over here.
Do you have contacts?
Oh yeah, I can barely see. Everything's blurry, but I just want to look like a conservative, so I just throw them out. I don't care. That's fine. I drive like a maniac.
Ben Shapiro likes me more. Me as in me.
But it could be.
Just to clarify, right? Because we're talking about me.
No, but it's how would I.
So are we each talking about ourselves? Is the me relating to both of us?
You are going to answer whether I think that Ben likes me more than you.
Then why didn't you say Michael?
Well, because then I'm going to answer if you think that Ben likes you more than me.
I quit. I'm done.
Yes. So I'm going to say you think that Ben likes you more than me. Yes. And then you got it. Do I think that Ben likes me more than you?
I think that that you think that Ben likes me more than you. Yes.
No, that me more than you.
Okay, so no.
So no. Yeah. I think. So I think that was correct. I don't even know what we answered.
I think we both got that one right.
We both got that right. We should
okay.
Right. I agree.
Who wrote? Can you write it a little clearer? For God's sakes.
All right. Let's see. Maybe this one will be clearer. Leviticus 19, verse 28, was more of a chill suggestion, making tattoos completely acceptable for Christians today. Acceptable is going to be doing a lot of work here. So Leviticus 19:28 says no tattoos.
Well, yeah.
Now I can't help but notice. Got a little ink there on that.
That's henna. That's fake. I redo that every morning before I come out.
There's henna Cairo. Yeah,
the permanent marker.
Yeah, the Hindu artist, or more likely some like lib woman artist doing henna tattoos. She must be very confused every morning when you say, "I need the Cairo on there."
Yeah, well, and see, the question is not framed exactly correctly because I don't want to give my answer until you've guessed.
Okay. So the question acceptable is it? Are we talking about
chill suggestion?
Yeah,
is an unfair framing to begin with.
Yeah, as far as I know, God, particularly in the Old Testament, does not generally make chill suggestions.
Right. Neither chill nor suggestion would apply to the Old Testament at any point. So,
but the question is today, do those specific laws still hold today?
Right, and I'm confident that you would say no, that they don't hold.
Yes, I suppose. Okay. Now, yes, on the I think the substantive read of the question.
Yes.
However, the word acceptable.
Right.
It is my opinion that the only people who should have tattoos are convicts and sailors. Now,
not body shame me first. How dare you?
I will say, you've got a kind of burly demeanor. You can pull, and it's a strange tattoo because it's an ancient Christian symbol. Like it's.
Oh, is that what it is?
I don't know if you know. Yeah, I thought it was Japanese for water.
I was going for RX like prescription, and I forgot that.
Maybe you got to go back.
I'm just a big fan of Tylenol. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So we both got that right. So I guess we should drink. Are those the rules?
By the way, I totally respect the view of hating tattoos.
Yeah.
And I should be a guy who hates them, so it's very confusing for people.
Yes.
But in terms of the Old Testament argument, I find it absurd. Clearly, those are not those are ceremonial Jewish laws that don't.
And there is a difference between moral laws, ceremonial laws. This is sometimes people get tripped up on this, but there are.
And especially tattoos in that context would have been pagan symbolism.
Yeah. Right, but also if you get the little like the Japanese for water, like the 20-year-old white girls do, that is immoral. That is a damnable offense.
I will agree with you there.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. I would rather be stuck in an elevator with a bleeding heart, burning bro communist than a libertarian who thinks we can all get along if people just let you do you.
Okay, now it's your answer to this.
Rather be stuck with the Bernie bro than a libertarian.
All right, I'm just going to go for it.
I'm going to say yes, you would rather be stuck with the Bernie bro.
Oh, I misunderstood the question. You would rather be stuck. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm
so I try to get
switching my. Yeah. Yes. I think yes. You would rather be stuck with the Bernie bro than the libertarian. And I certainly would rather be stuck with the Bernie bro.
We're on the same page.
Yes. There's no question.
Libertarians probably annoy me more than any other humans on Earth at this point in my.
Yes. It is. In college, we used to sing a song. This is not a joke. We'd sing, "God wrought ye libertarians, ye fill me with dismay. Your anarchistic tendencies, your..." I forget. I was usually even a little more lubricated when I was singing in college. But the point is, libertarianism, super lame.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Let's see. So now I'm up. Generally speaking, America should not get involved with conflicts in Taiwan or Israel. So we've got to reset. What you're going to answer on this, America should, generally speaking, America should not get involved with conflicts in Taiwan or Israel. I think you're going to say...
I'm going to give you a yes, should not.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah.
Because the generally speaking here is the key.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Right? I think when it is in America's interest, and there can be times when it's in America's interest to push back China or to push back certain Arab states, then we certainly should. But as an ongoing matter of constantly managing these places, probably not. Probably that would be an
Yeah, I'm generally in favor of allowing countries to handle their own affairs.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we keep getting them right, but we're just still drinking. So I guess that's fine.
Oh, cool. Sounds like we're winning.
All right. There are a lot of questions too.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey is more likely to win a governor race in Texas than Caitlyn Jenner in California. So it's more likely, not who would you rather see win.
More likely? Yeah, okay. I'll answer.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that you'd say yes to that.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that right now it's fashionable for conservatives to say that, Democrats are the real transphobes or whatever, but Caitlyn's not going to win, right?
And
I don't think so.
He is polling at like 2%.
Wow.
He's polling at, so conservatives are buying into the left's giving up on reality for the sake of this trans candidate who's not even going to win.
Wait.
So
I thought when you said he, I assumed you were referring to Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, yeah. So just
you were calling Bruce Jenner, the guy in the Wheaties box, a he?
Caitlyn Jenner.
Okay,
I'll respect the name.
I've long respected the name. I'm getting to the point where I don't know that I will. Because here's why. Yeah, you can change your name, whatever. Prince can become a symbol, right? He's the artist who knows Prince. But Caitlyn is a woman's name. I don't think that a dude should go by Caitlyn.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
But a name actually is a social construct. So like that is a social. It's something we come up with. It is a symbol to represent a person.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's an arbitrary symbol, so it could be anything. Maybe it's as long as you change it. If you change it legally, then that's your name.
I don't know. I think I might be more of a theocratic fascist than you are in this case.
Now I got to recalibrate my position.
Yes, because here's what I think. The name.
I have to scramble to get to the right of you on this.
No one gets names.
It should be right. Yes, it's illegal to have a name.
Yeah. Because I think it's a symbol, right? They're symbols, but you get a name at birth, right? It's your Christian name, we say.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be able to change it. And also, by the way, if we can call men Caitlyn, then Johnny Cash's song, A Boy Named Sue, is no longer, it was never funny, but it's no longer even ostensibly.
We have destroyed that song.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't agree with what you're saying, but I don't want to be in the position of arguing
the liberal side of it.
Right. So I'm just going to move on from that.
Fair enough. Am I up now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I have confidence that the 2022 midterms will bring a relative red wave.
A relative red wave. What the hell?
What is that?
It took me a second for that to sink in.
It's redundant.
A relative red wave. Okay. Maybe you'll be more optimistic on this one.
Drink. Okay. I'm firmly in the no category. I'm not saying no, it won't happen. I'm saying I'm not confident. And I'm not confident because Democrats rewrote all the election laws and gave themselves a lot of advantages. I wish I could be confident, but no.
Yeah, my lack of confidence is the general pessimism to life, but and to the Republicans.
Yeah.
So
they are very good at clutching defeat from the jaws of victory.
And we would need to know a little bit more about what a red wave would even mean, but
yeah,
I think they'll pick up some
yeah.
seats, but
They sort of have to, right? If they didn't pick up some seats, something would have gone seriously wrong. But maybe something they don't.
All right, of course I know what you're going to say this. All parties involved in the production and distribution of pornography should be arrested and held criminally liable. So it's just,
it's like, cool. Straight to that.
Yeah,
straight to that. It's my criminal justice reform, by the way.
Yeah,
that's my first step to recovering a sense of true liberty. Yeah,
I'm a little bit of optimism there. It seems to me that there's a growing sense on the right, to treat pornography in this way, because 5-6 years ago, even when this first subject really came up, it was like a few years ago we were talking about it, and the backlash from the right was intense.
Well, just from like the boomer libertarian right.
Yeah,
they're like, what?
Yeah.
Porn's awesome. Thomas Jefferson loved porn. Yeah,
exactly.
George Washington had a subscription to OnlyFans. Yeah.
This is what our founders envisioned.
This is a blessing of liberty. Yeah, right.
But it seems to be, especially among younger conservatives, it seems to be a little bit of a shift there. So
totally. Well, the irony is, all the kind of boomer con, libertarian types, they'll say like, guys, come on, what? You're not gonna look at porn all the time? And, I bet a lot of those Zoomers, those like 18-year-old conservatives who were super anti-porn, I bet they've looked at porn. Hypocrites. It's like, yeah, I bet they have. I bet they realize how horrible it is. Yeah. And that's why they're so opposed to it.
They've grown up, a lot of these kids grew up, they were exposed to it when they were like 7.
Yes.
And they just see how empty and gross and disgusting it is. So
yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Something to celebrate.
This
is me. Okay. Vegans should not be allowed to vote.
Vegans should not be allowed to vote.
Should not be allowed to vote.
I'm going to assume that you would probably say no to that.
Vegans should not be allowed to vote. I'm going to say that you're going to be pretty moderate here, kind of more of a liberal, and
that's a risky move.
I'm going to say, and you're going to say that maybe the vegans should be allowed to vote.
Well, okay, there's a little bit of a nuance here, because I believe strongly in greatly reducing the number of people who can legally vote.
Of course.
Greatly reducing.
Yes.
Through any number of means.
Yes.
And I think that through the means that I have in mind, most vegans will be ruled out.
Yes, I agree. I'm with you.
But it probably wouldn't be determined based on their veganism. So
yes, this is the issue. The Venn diagram of people who should be disqualified from voting and vegans it's like almost
right.
It's almost exactly a circle, but I don't think it's totally synonymous. Yeah.
So we can take care of them without having to directly target them,
because that would raise constitutional issues. I think just in the same place that you had a constitutional right to look at weird porn and stuff, you have the constitutional guarantee that vegans can vote.
Yeah,
in the same penumbra.
Exactly.
Yeah.
AIDS or unprovoked aggression towards the peaceful Muslim world. Well, that's just
okay. Cool.
Oh, okay. I almost put you towards yes.
Scary. Yeah, that's the funniest prompt that we've had yet. Yeah, that's really.
Not much to talk about there. Think about
defeating the Saracens and retaking the Holy Land. Deus Vult.
I'm going to run out, by the way. Do we get more?
We wait for our drinks to be poured. I need to tell you how important it is to protect your home. And you can protect your home with Ring. It makes it so easy. This is very important for me these days because I've got cute little June, my newborn baby. I've got sweet little Elisa, my beautiful wife. And I want to be able to know that they're safe, whether I'm at home, whether I'm at the office, whether I'm on the other side of the world. I can see and speak to whoever is at my door using my Ring app. So I'm not saying it's going to be some burglar or something, but what if it's Walsh? I don't want some sketchy guy like Matt Walsh necessarily just being on my doorstep and no one knows that it's him. Maybe for you, who knows? Maybe it's your in-laws are coming to town. You find this out on the app. You stay perfectly still. Nobody makes a breath. Nobody moves a muscle. With Ring, you can secure every inch of your house. Start protecting your home today with Ring Alarm. How you do it? It's very easy. You go to ring.com/Knowles, Knowles, to get your Ring Alarm Security Kit today. You can build the system that's right for your home. Have it up and running in minutes. So easy to install. Even I can do it. Ring.com/Knowles. That is ring.com/Knowles. Back to the questions. Vaccine passports seem more like a prophecy from Revelation than a public health concern or benefit.
Yeah, I'm assuming you say yes on that.
Yeah, that's not a tricky one, I find.
I think it's a little strong. I mean, prophecy from Revelation. I don't know if I'd put it that way.
I'm not saying they seem like a prophecy,
but
I'm
more
saying
like.
more like.
Yeah.
Because
I'll go with that.
You know, the thing is, I don't think we're living in the end times. You know, they're always worried that this is the mark of the beast or that's the mark of the beast. But you know, someone's going to be living in the end times, right? I mean, it's
got to be someone. But
like, I don't think it's me. I don't think I am, but.
But you think of plenty of periods through history where they would have had a better case, Black Death,
Yes.
you know, things like that. But yeah, I mean, vaccine passport, I'm very much against. As far as whether people get a vaccine, I don't care. That's my thing. I don't get it if you want or don't if you don't.
Yeah.
That's my
I'm not hardcore enough to say like definitely don't get it, but I am prudential enough to think like, hey, if you make a risk calculation and you say that the risk is better for me to get the vaccine, then just do it. You know, if you're in an at-risk group or something,
right.
Okay, cool. But if you're a healthy 28-year-old or something, and you just think, well, I face statistically like no risk from this virus.
Yeah.
Then I don't the creepy kind of vax or mask or vote or die or whatever. I just think it's so creepy. It makes me less likely to want to do it every time I say it.
Yeah. That's why you let people make their own decisions. That's here we go. Aliens more than likely exist. This does not include illegal or naturalized aliens, Michael Knowles. That's on the card, just so you know.
Guatemalans definitely exist. Yeah.
Okay. So I think you're going to say no on that.
I think you're going to say yes.
You're absolutely right.
You're right. You're totally right. I don't, if you asked me today, put $50,000 on do aliens exist or not, I'd say they do not.
But that determination on your part is almost entirely theological.
It has a theological aspect. Part of it is, I never got into aliens, even when I was an atheist. I was like, I don't really think there's aliens or anything. It's like, because they'd always be like, but the universe is big. And I was like, well, okay, whatever. It's like, it's big and sterile, mostly. Like, why don't
But it's just so, I know you don't find the universe is big argument to be compelling. I think it is because of just how we're talking about 100 billion galaxies or more in the observable universe.
Yeah.
100 billion galaxies, 100 billion stars in each galaxy, give or take.
Yeah.
You know, let's say 5 or 6 planets on average around each star.
Yeah.
Okay. How many planets does that make?
Yeah, no, I mean, let's say there's like a gazillion planets. The fact that there's a bunch of rocks does not, to me, imply that there's a life on any of them.
Well, but if you were to take, okay,
because we don't know anything about the origin of life as a sort of scientific matter.
Certainly, if you were to take religion completely out of it, which you can't, but if you were, then you're looking at it as a matter of pure statistics.
Yeah.
What's the statistical likelihood of there being life on other planets?
But I think in order to do the statistical analysis, you've got to know how you go from not life to life, right? Because I have no doubt that if there's some kind of life, that you could get some kind of other life. I'm kind of there. I think but if we have truly no scientific understanding of how life starts, then there are some theories on it, but there's no good evidence for them. Then even let's say there's a million places, there's a zillion places. What do the statistics matter if we don't know that fundamental process?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you were to take religion out of it, and you're saying even as an atheist you have this view. So then it's a matter of, I guess, it's like a chemistry set, and a bunch of chemicals are being mixed randomly, and then that's how you start life.
That's the hypothesis, I guess.
Right. Well, if there's no, if you take religion out of it, that's what it has to be. It has to be something like that. So then it's just a matter of if you have enough of those chemistry sets going at the same time, it's just likely, a certain number of them are gonna land, the die is gonna be cast.
This is very interesting. So what you're saying is, absent the existence of God.
Right.
Absent the existence of God, it's like, to me, everything that follows from that is just like gobbledygook, because it's like, how do you...
True.
It's like, this is the sustaining essence of the universe. But, so absent the existence of God, the only way that life could develop has to be from non-life in some kind of primordial soup.
Without God, right, yeah.
So, therefore, because that's obviously just nonsense, we just don't have any evidence that happened. Therefore, God exists. That's like another argument for God.
Right, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about, so there's that part of it. And then, okay, but let's get back into reality. We bring God back into the equation.
Yeah.
That makes it a little more interesting, but I think it actually makes the case for intelligent life on other planets more compelling, because now we're talking about, whereas without God, all these planets exist for really no purpose. They just happen to be there, including our own.
Yeah.
Now all these planets have, there's a reason all those planets are there. God intentionally created every single one of them. So if there are a gazillion planets, right, there are a gazillion planets in the universe, God individually made every single one of them for a reason.
Yeah.
And so it just becomes harder for me to understand.
Now this, C.S. Lewis was open to aliens, right? So there are plenty of prominent Christians who are open to aliens. However, does this not raise the problem of monogenism? Monogenism, the fancy term for the idea that we all descend from a common ancestor.
Yeah.
And this is very important to make sense of original sin, broken human nature, human solidarity, human dignity, all the way down to why racism is bad, right? Racism is bad because we're all part of the same family and on the same line. If we aren't, then it raises issues of even what a human being is. So do the aliens not raise a problem in Adam and Eve?
Yeah, and now we're drinking. We're talking about this. I'm worried that I'm going to venture into heresy, but so I'll try.
I will drink more. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that I like C.S. Lewis's thoughts on this, and I don't know exactly how this works with salvation history. But first of all, the fact that I can't figure out how to work it within the theological framework that I understand doesn't.
That is definitive that it's not possible.
Right. Well, right. Exactly. But it's not actually definitive, so that's the point. But also maybe this is why the universe is so vast and there's so much space in between all these different planets, because God does not actually want these different races of intelligent beings intermingling, because they're at different places in their salvation journey.
It would seem to me that, assuming that the Trinity is true, sort of the central mystery of Christianity, then you have the second person of the Blessed Trinity is Christ, as the Logos of the universe, incarnate, dies once on the cross to redeem mankind and redeem the fallen world. Okay. So it would seem difficult for me to understand how there's another sort of salvation on some other planet with the second person of the Trinity who dies once for all. So that would seem very hard. So then it would seem to imply that the other creatures are not fallen.
That's possible. Yeah.
So that could be possible.
C.S. Lewis, speculated about that.
Yeah.
But that goes back to why
What up?
our nearest solar system is 4 light years away, which is 25 trillion miles. So, and that's our next door neighbor. That's like a hop, skip, and a jump away in galactic terms. So, and that's close.
Yeah.
So why is there so much space in between each? Maybe it's because of this problem of you can't have a fallen race interacting with a non-fallen race. Because the interesting thing there then is that like the fallen race comes sort of like the snake in the Garden of Eden, playing that role. And
right.
So maybe that's the reason why. I mean, it's all speculation, but. For me, it just comes down to the universe is very big. There's lots of planets in it. They serve some sort of purpose.
And we are a bunch of snakes.
We are. So.
Well, I at least know a bunch of snakes here, especially in politics.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Am I up? You're up.
I think so. We talked about that for 45 minutes.
Okay. Oh, man. I know the names of more than half of the people who work here. So now we're answering for this. So definitely for you, that's like not even a question. Of more than half. I don't know. We hire like 27 people an hour here.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up. I'm going to say for you also. Well, I wouldn't put it past you to know everyone's name in this whole damn building. But I'm going to say no.
You know what the trick is here? Because I think I actually don't know the answer to this, because we hire however like a dozen people a day, but the real trick is like, oh hey buddy, hey pal, nice meeting you. I don't. It's like is it Matt? Is his name Matt or Mickey or?
In fairness, I don't think any individual person in this building knows the name of, because we're hiring so many people. So.
That's true. Yeah. Except for the good people who actually care about their coworkers.
Well,
unlike the bad fallen snakes such as us.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, we should put Drew for that. Yeah. It's also, frankly, I don't even think our boss Bill Shapiro knows.
Yeah. Whatever his name is, something like that. Bill Gates isn't Jeffrey Epstein. Why is there apostrophe there? Was the person who wrote these questions drunk already? You guys trying to drink?
They were tipping into the boodles. Yeah.
Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein just happen to have been really good friends. No funny business. That's obviously a no.
Pretty. As persuasive as that sounds, no.
Yeah. No, I like the claim that they were. Bill Gates was consulting Jeffrey Epstein on for marriage advice. If you're having problems in your marriage, of course you're going to consult
an international sex trafficker.
International sex trafficker, pedophile who's never been married. He's the guy that you're gonna.
Hey, what do you think? Do you think Melinda and I are gonna work out? I don't know. All right. When people recognize me in public, it genuinely warms my heart.
I've never been recognized in public, so.
No, yes you have.
I'm kidding.
Yes. You've been recognized. No, the only question is, can Matt Walsh's heart be warmed?
Yeah, I'm gonna say for you the answer is yes.
It absolutely is for me. For you, I'm gonna say yes. It does.
I was hoping I could surprise you if you put it on no. But...
No, but beneath that gruff, burly, bearded exterior, there is a very sweet, warm cauldron of sympathy and humanity.
I don't know if I go that far, but it almost warms my heart. But then because I'm Catholic, it verges quickly into guilt and shame. Because then I start thinking, like, why does this person care? Like, I'm such an insignificant piece of dirt of a person. Right. So, there's a little bit of a warming of a heart that happens.
Yeah. And then when you flagellate yourself, the stimulated blood flow literally warms your heart. That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh no, is it your turn? Or
Is it mine? Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, the current pope is not super great. So this is where I go back to my theory that the person who wrote the questions was drunk, because I'm not sure what.
Not super great.
But was the 1 to 10.
Oh yeah. This is
why do we need a scale of 1 to 10 if the statement is the current pope is not super great?
Yeah, that's well, I guess there's one name we don't need to learn around these parts. Probably not going to be here very long.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Pope is not super great is the prompt.
Yeah. Is not super great. Yes.
So you're saying I would agree with the statement the Pope is not super great. And I'm saying you would disagree with the statement the Pope is not super great. So you're saying this, I'm going to say that you say that the Pope is super great. And you're saying that I don't think the Pope is super great.
Yes, but now that you put my drink over there, I'm rethinking my decision, but I've already made it.
He's the Pontifex Maximus.
Yeah. Oh,
he's literally super great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
But we're talking about, I assume we're talking about the personality, the actual individual.
Well, this is the issue, of course, yes. I would never denigrate the Holy Father. I couldn't do it. Now, when one says things that are unfortunate, when one says things that raise a lot of confusion, when one says things that are outright heresy in some cases, this is very confusing. And this would raise filial questions and dubia and doubts. But I would never say, look, I'm not some lid who thinks that I can just start mouthing off about the Pope and start accusing people outright of saying things that are sometimes, it seems, kind of heretical, you know.
I mean, I would argue that saying heretical things is not super great.
Yeah, no,
it's not a super great thing to do.
No, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. I think we both answered wrong.
I think but maybe we both answered right.
At the same time, no. Yes and no.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I
do.
On a scale of A to 17, no, that's not. Radical Islam is still more dangerous than radical leftism.
Radicalism is more. I'm pretty sure you're going to say no.
Radical Islam is still more dangerous than radical leftism. I'm going to say no for you as well.
Yeah, for me that's an easy one.
Yeah,
personally. My only problem with the question is the still, because I don't think that it ever was.
Well, it's just because leftism has only been a real political problem in the last few hundred years.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas Islam's been a political problem for like 1,500 years.
Yeah. But to think about what do we mean by danger? Are we talking about a physical danger? Well, then that might that might sway it slightly, but
It's tricky in the sense that leftism is just an inversion of Christianity. It comes out of this Christian civilization and it just inverts everything. So in a way, it's the same way that it's easier to talk to the ardent atheist than it is to the agnostic, because the ardent atheist is really thinking about these issues. So the radical leftist, maybe you can kind of get them. But the argument is even truer for Islam. Islam derives out of a Christian heresy. And this is not even really disputed by Muslims, right? That Muhammad meets a heretical Christian monk and then goes on and develops this Islamic religion. But I think if I'm talking to some kook, atheist, or even worse, some decadent, just agnostic lib, we're not even talking about the same thing. Whereas if I'm talking to some radical Islamic person, that guy's thinking about the same things I'm thinking about. We're actually speaking kind of the same. I don't speak Arabic, but we're speaking the same language. And the question is just about the answers to those questions. So yeah, I think that's certainly right.
Yeah, I guess I would look at it like this. I don't know that there's any person who has ever not made it to heaven, or any Christian who's ever been not made it to heaven because of Islam. I mean, Islam can persecute and kill them, but at the end of the day, that's actually expedites their trip. Whereas with leftism, I think that the attack is much more internal, and I think it has a far different effect. So
that is really good. You very rarely hear of Christians converting to Islam,
right?
But you do hear of Christians converting to leftism.
Well, in this country, millions,
millions
and millions.
Much of the country. That's a very good point. Yeah. All right.
I make those on occasion.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Really? Okay.
After a couple beers.
Mm-hmm.
So you're all right. Having facial hair covers insecurities more effectively than the lack of facial hair impotence. Wait a second.
Wait, we got to get the phrase.
Having facial hair covers insecurities more effectively than the lack of facial hair hints at impotence.
Let me see. I can't.
Yeah.
So having facial hair covers insecurities more effectively, more. Did a literate person write these questions, or
I don't know.
Let me rephrase this to make it even semi-plausible to interpret. Facial hair, having facial hair, is aimed more at covering insecurities than the lack of facial hair suggests or implies impotence.
That doesn't clarify it for me, but
okay.
Okay, I don't want to give my. I'll just say that you're going to say yes.
Yeah, I get. I mean, I'm not a. I have a kid. I have a baby.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that you're going to say. I'm going to say that you're going to say no.
You're correct, because I just reject the entire premise of the question.
You're just going to say no to the question.
I say no to the question, to the whole premise.
Having
the beard is not about. It's covering insecure. What does that even mean?
It also, that there is no meaning to that prompt,
right? Because
it doesn't obey sort of basic rules of grammar.
Right. So I just reject it on principle.
Yeah. And a guy with a beard probably doesn't give a damn about grammar rules. That guy, he's going to go chop down trees and whatever.
Well, yeah. Here's what I hate about so many things, but that facial hair has become. Like, I'm accused of being a hipster all the time for having facial hair.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Or like, you're making a statement. It's like, this is, since time immemorial, men have grown beards. I'm not trying to say anything.
Yeah.
It's just being a man.
I know. I started to grow over Christmas. I was saying, I'm going to grow a beard. Everyone's got a beard, right? Drew's got a beard. Jeremy's got a beard. Matt's got a beard. I'll grow a beard.
I don't know if I would call theirs beards, but.
Yeah, it's not quite. So I start growing. It's it's whatever. I'm looking a little scraggly, but it's a little bit on the patchy sort of stuff. But I can grow a mustache in about 4 hours. That is the one. It takes me 10 years to grow a beard. I can grow a mustache in a blink of an eye. But some guys are not meant for mustaches, and I give a lot of talks at schools. Yeah. And if I grow out this mustache, I will not be permitted within 300 yards of the school.
I just reject that. I think that you should do it. I'm very pro mustache.
Okay.
I think it's a great look, and mustaches are back as far as I know.
All right. I mean, I love a good mustache.
Yeah. And you could probably get the whole, because you got to go the whole.
Oh yeah, I do. I can get it. Mine's like a slug. Mine's like a disgusting slug on my lip.
That's what it's
little crumb catcher.
That's what it needs to be.
Yeah, a little soup strainer is what it is. Yeah.
How would your wife feel about it?
She would come around to it, I think, given this time scale of eternity.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
If you give her no choice, I mean. Yeah.
All right. The masks did nothing to help the public at large and were merely a political tool to frighten voters into believing a new administration was needed. Now, hold on. Due to YouTube rules, make your guess, but do not verbally confirm if the other person guessed correctly. Give only an ambiguous, non-verbal confirmation. So I'll read that prompt again, knowing that rule. The masks did nothing to help the public at large, and they were merely a political tool to frighten voters into believing that a new administration was needed. So now we have to guess how the other person would guess.
That's a very interesting theoretical prompt. Well,
you're up. Yeah.
Race hustlers who intentionally mislead and stir up riots should be held criminally responsible if violence breaks out. Yeah. Clearly.
Obviously. Yeah. To their future prosecution.
Yeah. Well, that's never going to happen, for sure.
It's like next year in Jerusalem, right? It's like waiting for Elijah. Yeah. Okay. We should go back to spreading our original American ideals to other countries and involving ourselves in their business if they are not preserving freedom and democracy. I guess I kind of tipped my hand on that one. Yeah.
No. I have zero interest. I don't have any interest in spreading democracy here. So, what I want democracy over, I don't even want it here.
It's also the idea of democracy, or the idea of freedom. I don't like those things floating around in outer space.
Yeah.
I like the real, enacted, enfleshed, lived experience of those things. I love the American tradition of freedom. Oh yeah, I'll get into that. The American government and system, yeah, traditional. I'll get into that. But like, it's like that meme, it's like mud democracy or like mud freedom. No, I don't want that in it. I don't want that floating in the abstract.
But also the idea that democracy is this universally great thing that works for everyone in every culture, everywhere in the world throughout time and history is absurd, obviously. It's
also the idea that the cycle of regimes is not a fact of the political world, and the idea that democracy is the only, in any case, legitimate form of government does raise this observation, which is the kingdom of God, not a democracy.
So what do you think is the most ideal form of government?
Well, I'm not like anti-republic. I'm not one of these totally reactionary anti-republic people. Perfectly legitimate monarchies, and I think there's quite a lot about a monarchy, certainly a constitutional monarchy, that gives itself credit. And by the way, I don't know if you've noticed this, but the libs always talk about our democracy, especially these days. It's always the libs and then the kind of squishy Republicans. They say, this is a threat to our democracy. And I think it was Angelo Codevilla at the Claremont Institute who pointed out that every time these guys refer to our democracy, they are, without fail, referring to their oligarchy. It's always the people who are the most sort of elite, anti-democratic people in the world.
Yeah, that's true. That's the irony. I've spent more time hanging out with my producer than you have with yours. Now we're getting personal.
Yeah, so I'm going to assume you've not hung out with your producer.
Oh, I can't answer the question.
You can't, yeah, so I'm going to say, but it's like, So
again, we have the problem of the I.
So the I refers to the person who is answering. No, I'm sorry, it doesn't. It refers to the opposite. I'm trying to answer if you would say, I've hung out with my producer more than you, Michael, have hung out with yours.
okay. I think what? No.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's fair. Because I got to tell you, ever since we moved here, I had this little kid. So my social life went from like cool guy hitting the club every night to just suburban dad taking the grill pill outside, hanging out at home. But I have hung out with my producer. We've traveled. We've done these things. I'm gonna guess you have not.
I have, but only recently because I've only recently been in the office. So, but I think you probably have more.
Because I've got a longer time scale.
Right, yeah.
I think that's fair. Okay. All right. Probably still drink. Do you need a top off? Do I need a top off?
I think I'm good.
So now it's my go. Reading The Church of Cowards left me speechless.
Sure.
Yeah, why not? Let's just go with
That's great. A little book plug from
Speechless. Let's go to one sip.
And when does that come out?
It was June 22nd. It's available now for pre-order. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at Premier Collectibles for a signed first edition copy. You can text some number that I totally forget. But whatever you do, make sure you get it.
The act of going fishing is not really a thing. It's merely a ploy to leave the house and finally get some peace and quiet. I have a definite opinion for myself about this, but I'm going to say that you would.
So you say no?
Really say yes. Yeah, you're correct. I'm very much. For me, the act of going fishing is all about fishing.
Yeah, I'm in the camp as well. I've just recently. I occasionally gone fishing as a kid. I recently went fly fishing in Utah.
Yeah.
It's a transcendent experience.
It is. It really is.
It's great. Yeah. I did not know that. It's weird because if you said to someone, "Hey, you're going to put on boots, sort of silly boots, and stand in cold water, and just stand for like 5 hours, and that's going to be very beautiful and fun," you would not anticipate that to be true.
What I like about fishing, I've been an avid angler, as we call ourselves in the business.
Yeah.
For several years now. But what I like about fishing is that some people say that, it's an excuse to get out of the house, or you're drinking, or whatever, and that's fine too. But really, for me, it's or you can think about it's a time to think about things. And but when I'm fishing, I'm just thinking about fishing. That's all I'm thinking about. And that's what I like about it. You're focused on this one skill, this one simple act. You got to find the fish, you got to catch them, and I think in that way it's sort of liberating.
Winston Churchill said this about painting. He said, you got to take up painting because it's the only way to get your mind on something else. He said, if you want your mind to relax, you can't just do nothing because then you'll just think about all your stresses. And you can't read because it's just using the same muscles that you use all the time. But if you paint, it's using different muscles and you're so focused, then you'll and I think the same thing is true about fishing. You're just casting it out there. You're watching very closely. You're trying to feel whatever. You're so 5 hours goes by. It's like 2 seconds.
Yeah. That's how I feel about it.
And you know what I also have in common with fish? Drinking.
Absolutely. I think does anyone keep track? I think I won this. Did I win?
We can defer to let's see, I'm trying to see what I'm hearing from the judges. No, I think I won.
You don't have the earpiece in, but okay. I'll go with that.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on this game. Frankly, in a sense, I think we all won.
Agreed.
Four, three, two, one. Boom, and we're live. 12 rules for life. So without reading this, so what you're saying is, that's what I like.
There's only 12 things you need to know in life, right? That's it?
Yeah. Yeah. This interview that you just did with this woman, Kathy Newman, was that in the UK?
It was, Channel 4, UK.
I just went, I felt bad, but I was also laughing. I went to her Twitter page, to read, like, and with each one of her tweets, no matter what she says, someone writes underneath it. So what you're saying is, and then some ridiculous. But by the way, your fans were mocking her, but politely, non-aggressively. I didn't read any rude things. Like there was no insults, or there was, well, maybe a few insults, but there's no swears. It was just playful mocking of the interview that she did with you, because the interview was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous interview. I mean, I listened to it, I watched it several times. I was like, this is so strange. It's like her determination to turn it into a conflict. It's one of the issues that I have with television shows.
Yeah.
Because they have a very limited amount of time, and they're trying to make things as salacious as possible. They want to have these sound bites, these clickbait sound bites, and she just went into it incredibly confrontational, not trying to find your actual perspective, but trying to force you to defend a non-realistic perspective.
Yes, well, I was the hypothetical villain of her imagination, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, what happened, what was interesting, too, the way it played itself out, because I met her in the green room beforehand. You know, she was being made up, and then they put a little bit of powder on me, and we had a friendly kind of interchange, and then we went and sat in front of the cameras and for a couple of minutes, you know, before the show got rolling, and we had a pretty pleasant back and forth. And then as soon as the cameras went on, she was a completely different person.
Ugh.
And I thought, oh, I see. I see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so that kind of alerted me to, well, the fact that there was something rotten in the state of Denmark, let's say. Yeah, but you know, this is also why YouTube is going to kill TV, because television, by its nature, all of these narrow broadcast technologies, they rely on forcing the story, right? Because it has to happen now. It has to happen in, like, often in 5 minutes, because they only broadcast 5 minutes of that interview. They did put the whole thing up on YouTube.
To their credit.
It hasn't ceased to amaze me yet. I think that they thought that the interview went fine. That's the scuttlebutt I've got from sort of behind the scenes, because I know some people who know what's going on at Channel 4, and they're shell-shocked by the response. You know, and then of course there was the counter response. The Guardian the next day published an article saying that, you know, the head of Channel 4 had to call in police security because of threats. You know, well, first of all, you can call the police in about anything, and they never did detail out exactly what the threats were. You know, but then about 20 newspapers picked that up and went for the, well, Kathy Newman is now being harassed by an army of online trolls for doing nothing but doing her job, which, well, I backlash against that in the press. So it's been a, well, I wouldn't say
someone
about
took
that.
an audit of the actual interchanges that between fans and her, and there was way more negative ones coming your way.
Yes, that were seriously negative. Yeah, that's right.
Seriously negative, violent, harassing, just rude. There were way more.
Yeah.
And no one picked up on that at all. It was all, the narrative was she's a victim.
Yeah.
Even though she was highly aggressive in this, but
she's a funny victim. It's not like she's not successful.
Yeah.
You know, it's like at some point you think you should have to hand in your victim card. I think, like, when you go to an Ivy League university, it's like right then and there. You get to hand in. Yeah, because you don't get to be oppressor and oppressed at the same time. That's just too much.
Well, one of the things that you pointed out was when you were talking about competition for very lucrative jobs, and you were saying, look what you've done. Like, you must have had to work here. And she proudly was saying how hard she had to work to get there. I'm like, well, yes, of course. No one's going to hand this to you.
No,
this is why,
not.
And this is why you were saying you are opposed to equality of outcome.
Equality of outcome. I can't imagine anything we could possibly strive for in our society that would make it into hell faster than equality of outcome. Like, the historical evidence for the pathology of that route is so strong. It's like you have to be historically ignorant beyond belief, or malevolent, or resentful beyond comprehension in order to think that that's a good idea. I argue for that.
I agree with you, but I think that even if you came into this with no knowledge of history, but a complete understanding of human beings, you would say, well, that doesn't make any sense. And one of the best quotes that I've ever read about it is that if you have real, true freedom, you're never going to have equality of outcome. Because with real, true freedom, you have the freedom to not engage. Well, look, if you look at a guy like Jeff Bezos, for instance, that Amazon guy who's worth more money than anybody ever, right? That guy works all day.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a maniac.
Oh, yeah.
He's acquiring all these different companies, and everything he's doing is designed to succeed.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just
Well, that's what
fanatical
Gates just
about
said
it.
too in a recent interview. And I know some guys that are, they're in approximately the same universe as those two, and they just work all the time.
That's all they do.
the time.
Yeah.
And they don't just work. They work so efficiently and so effectively and make use of every second in ways you can't even imagine unless you're in that sort of position. So, and doing that doesn't mean that you will succeed, but not doing it certainly means that you will fail.
Not doing it certainly means you will never achieve that level of success, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about equality of outcome.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to work like that. I don't want to do what he's doing, and I should have the freedom to not do that.
Yeah.
As he should have the freedom to do that. If we're going to play this game called capitalism, which we're all agreeing is probably, at least in as far as the models that we have right now, is the best one that we have. If we're all going to play this game, if someone decides to be the Michael Jordan of capitalism, you can't stop them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say, no, you're playing this game too well. You're playing this game too hard. You're too obsessed with this game. You're going to have that.
Yeah, you can stop them. You can try to stop people from winning crookedly,
Yes.
which is what you should do. And
Yes.
there's a couple of things that are really worth delving into with regards to that too, because there's this sort of Marxist notion that all this inequality is generated as a consequence of capitalism, and that's actually technically false. Because if you look at, there seems to be something like a law of nature that's described by this statistical model called the Pareto distribution. And it basically suggests that in any creative domain, there's going to be a small number of people will do almost all of the output. But it doesn't just apply to human beings. It applies to the heights of trees in the Amazon rainforest. It applies to the size of cities, and it applies to the mass of stars, and it's something like the more you have, the more you get. It's something like, you can imagine how that would work with a star as it gets bigger.
Interested in selling printed products such as wall art and apparel with your design online? Go to gelato.com. Then click Stores and select the platform you're using. Next, go to Gelato and start adding products. You can select from hundreds of products across wall art, apparel, mugs, calendar, and much more. Spend your time making art and marketing your designs. Gelato handles production, packaging, and delivers straight to your customer. It's printed locally and delivered within 72 hours. Go to gelato.com and try it out today.
Without giving us any spoilers, did you ever get your answer to the question? I mean, we've got Supreme Court justices that cannot answer this question. What is a woman? It's a big question now.
Well, I mean, I did get, we got an answer in the end, yeah. We got a lot of different answers, but we did get a correct answer at the very end. I won't say anything else because it's a big spoiler.
Okay. Did you ever in your life think that you would have to make a documentary to answer a question that once upon a time was so basic? When I say once upon a time, I'm talking 6 years ago. I may be a little bit further, but when I was coming up in school, this was not a big question, a difficult question to answer. Now you're walking up to women, you're asking them the question, and they're completely stumped by this inquisition.
Yeah, I mean, I think 10 years ago, if you had told me, I would have been pretty floored that this is a conversation. Although one thing we get into in the film, and there's so many aspects to gender ideology that it's like 90 minutes can't even begin to cover it. So there are all these different avenues that I hope other people make movies to follow. So for example, we spend a brief amount of time getting into the history of where this stuff came from, where gender ideology came from. And it goes back, I mean, arguably it goes back, into the 19th century, but certainly it goes back to the mid-20th century with two guys we talk about, John Money and Alfred Kinsey. And that's where the seed was planted. So though 10 years ago, known that what is woman would be a controversial question, I would have been surprised by that. That's only because I and most other people weren't aware of what was already happening and kind of bubbling under the surface and making its way through our institutions, especially academia. And that has been going on for decades.
What's really interesting is that I graduated high school with not a single transgendered individual.
Yeah.
And now that being trans it's like, the new black, they still aren't trans, right? They're just, some people are lesbian, some people were gay. Now it is you go into a classroom and there's 5 or 6 people that identify as transgendered. How is that happening? How is it possible that all of these generations prior, we understood, by the way, I learned in psychology class, what gender dysphoria was. This used to be considered a mental illness, like bipolarism, like anorexia. I talk extensively in my book about my chapter on anorexia. Thank goodness nobody was like, well, you're allowed to just be anorexic and we're going to give you gastric bypass surgery even though you're 100 pounds. How did we get here? I think every family has somewhere tucked away an old shoebox of old photos and maybe some videos and camcorders of their family. The solution is Legacy Box. It's the simplest and safest way to digitally preserve all of your aging videotapes, camcorder tapes, film reels, and pictures so that they are preserved forever. I mean, imagine the relief knowing that all those cherished memories like Christmas mornings and your baby's first steps are safe from fires and water damage and preserved for years to come. I received my Legacy Box and it was so easy to use. I threw everything in there, all the memories of my sisters, my grandparents, and I shipped it off. The Legacy Box Father's Day event is happening right now. Go to legacybox.com/Candace to save 50%. Legacy Box is great for your family or as a gift for dad. That's legacybox.com/Candace for 50% off. legacybox.com/Candace.
If you look at the numbers, the latest Gallup poll, and I think it's something like 20% of Gen Z identifies as LGBT, and a significant portion identify as trans. If you trace it back to the generations, what you find actually is that starting with like our grandparents' generation, starting there and then going up, LGBT identification has exactly doubled generation over generation over generation. And this obviously is not something that's just happening naturally. This is all by design. And I think with trans in particular, we talk about in the film the kind of social contagion aspect of this, where these ideas are, I mean, they're all over Hollywood and media, especially social media, which is where kids spend all of their time anyway. So they're in school, and this is part of the peer culture in school, is the gender fluidity. And then they go home, but they never leave the peer culture. So then they go home and they're still on their phones all the time. So they just never escape this world, and it's beat into their heads. And I think part of what's happening is that, I mean, you mentioned anorexia, other things that people have struggled with in the past. Girls in particular have been susceptible to eating disorders and other struggles like that. And I think so. What that tells us is that, especially when you're a young person, and especially a girl, but this applies to boys too, there are struggles that are kind of just a part of growing up. Feeling, especially going through puberty, you feel kind of alien in your own body. The changes are happening hormonally, physically, that feel strange, and that's always a struggle. It's normal. Now society comes along and gives the girls in particular a framework for understanding their discomfort, where they say, oh, well, if you feel that way, it means you're actually a boy.
Right.
Whereas in the past we would have said to them, oh, this is a phase, you'll grow out of it, you'll get past it. We don't say that anymore. Now we take this thing, which is a phase, and we turn it into
an identity. Right, and that's what's so bizarre, because I can't imagine, like when I was going through anorexia, having a society that would stand up and be like, no, yes, you are fat. Like you're 100 pounds, but you are very fat, and you should get gastric bypass surgery. And yet we have this confirmation that's taking place, and I don't really understand how they're able to delineate, right? So now when we start seeing these stories of people that are trans species, well, I don't have a problem with trans species if you're telling me that transgenderism is real. Like if a person can wake up and say, I'm a boy, I actually was born a girl, but actually say I'm a boy, how are you able to say to an individual that thinks that they're a snake, hey, actually, no, you're not a snake, you're a human being? Like, I don't understand when you're speaking to these professionals in their field, how they're able to delineate. Before you answer that question, I actually want to show a clip of a wolf person that you met, because I think that...
I met a wolf, yeah.
Why not?
You founded your kayak company because you love the ocean, not spreadsheets. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description.
Now we are seeing kids that are identifying as animals going to school, and they are purring instead of answering questions, and they meow, and the teachers are not allowed to question it because it's considered a queer identity.
So you have kids that are going to school and they're saying, I'm a cat. Mm-hmm. And the teachers have to affirm them as a cat.
Yes. So it's
so
not
schools
just
are like
the
literal zoos now, basically.
They are.
I am a 27-year-old transgender woman. I am a Wolfarian and a member of the furry fandom.
When and how did you discover this inner wolfness?
Probably around age 10 or 11. I was watching an anime about wolves and see the wolf running across the screen, and I'm somehow just intrinsically like, oh, that's me.
Have you spent any time around biological wolves?
Yes.
That sounds dangerous also. What context are you?
So I was a volunteer with a preserve, and I've also visited many wolf preserves.
Are you able to communicate with the wolves?
Am I going to have a conversation with a wolf in the way that I'm communicating you and I? Obviously not. Am I going to read their body language, respond appropriately to their behaviors and their nonverbal cues? Yes.
Would you be able to give us an example of this wolf communication?
No. I'm not comfortable doing so.
Okay, all right.
So I watched that, and I'm observing a mentally sick individual, and what I like is that he is speaking to you like you're the mentally ill one. He's like, well, obviously not. When I communicate to the wolves, it's not in the normal way that you and I communicate, Matt. Like, don't be an idiot, Matt. What's going through your head? Because you have this remarkable ability to keep a very straight face and to listen and to try to accept the information that they are giving you.
Yeah, I think that was the idea in the film, was as much as I, particularly with some of the, we talked to a quote-unquote gender-affirming pediatrician who drugs kids, and those sort of people in particular, I very much wanted to just yell at her and get into an argument, but we thought it'd be much more effective to let them talk and just ask questions, let gender ideology sort of hang itself, and so that's the strategy in that and every other interview, just kind of like, what we found is basic questions are a powerful tool, but also silence, because what they want to do is they want to give you their talking point, which is like a sentence long, and move on to the next question. Keep it at that. So if you just remain silent, let them keep, let's hear more about that. And then you find that there's that's all they got. They don't have, whatever your question is, they have a sentence, they have their party line, they have nothing beyond that. And then, so that's when things begin to, quickly break down for them.
Right, and they get upset. They suddenly start getting very uncomfortable, even though you're being calm and you're being very kind to them. You can see that he suddenly gets very uncomfortable. And what's interesting to me, what strikes me about that conversation, is him saying, I got this idea when I was 11 and I was watching anime, right? Like, okay, so you were a child, and you were a fantastical child, as all children are. Children are fantastical. They can make up things in their head. They're wildly imaginative. And you just saw a wolf on TV and decided, I'm a wolf too, right? Yeah. When did we start pretending that every thought that a child has is legitimate? And why are we pretending that every thought that a child has is legitimate?
Well, I think the why of that, it goes all the way down to what gender ideology is, which is an assault on truth. And that's why so many of the interviews I had with people came back to, I was talking to Pontius Pilate every time. It always came back to, what is truth? So who's truth?
Look how beautiful it is out here. This is a national forest, means it's open to the public. I got a camera taking pictures. 3 people pull up. Oh, is everything okay? What are you doing there, buddy? Fuck you. That's what I'm doing. You know what? But a guy can walk into a goddamn school or a grocery store with an AR-15 and y'all don't see shit. Let a black dude get a camera just hanging around someplace taking pictures of birds, and then you're like, oh, that's fucking suspicious. I wish y'all would learn what the fuck suspicious is. Get the fuck out of my face. Okay, you people get on my fucking nerves. You know what? Look how beautiful it is out here. This is a national forest, means it's open to the public. I got a camera taking pictures. 3 people pull up. Oh, hey, is everything okay? What are you doing there, buddy? Fuck you. That's what I'm doing. You know what? But a guy can walk into a goddamn school or a grocery store with an AR-15 and y'all don't see shit. Let a black dude get a camera just hanging around someplace taking pictures of birds, and then you're like, oh, that's fucking suspicious. I wish y'all would learn what the fuck suspicious is. Get the fuck out of my face. Okay, you people get on my fucking nerves. You know what? Look how beautiful it is out here. This is a national forest, means it's open to the public. I got a camera taking pictures. 3 people pull up. Oh, hey, is everything okay? How you doing there, buddy? Fuck you, that's what I'm doing. You know what? But a guy can walk into a goddamn school or a grocery store with an AR-15 and y'all don't see shit. Let a black dude get a camera just hanging around someplace taking pictures of birds and then you're like, oh, that's fucking suspicious. I wish y'all would learn what the fuck suspicious is. Get the fuck out of my face. Okay, you people get on my fucking nerves. You know what? Okay, you people get on my fucking nerves.
think I'm gonna get out of here and go have some dinner. Catch y'all next time. Peace.